Hi there, I am Lou
I'm John.
and we live in the UK. We're both therapists, and welcome to our website, Beauty for Ashes. These videos we tend to see as a heart-to-heart. We've deliberately not scripted them or performed them because we wanted this to be just us being real.
Yeah.
And talking to you as if we were sitting opposite the table. So kind of we've given a lot of thought and consideration into doing this way, and I hope that that comes across clearly to you, and you just feel the essence of who we are as people, really, isn't it?
The downside of that is that we and I know pauses and things like that, and sometimes it might be slightly disjointed. But what we want to do is we want to, as it says, heart to heart. We want to talk from here.
Yeah, we do. Okay. So this is the question: does God exist? That we're unpacking.
Yeah, we thought we'd start with a nice, easy one. Nice, simple. Just sort of ease ourselves into it. Does God exist?
Yeah. Well, as Christians, we would say yes, but this is, the $1 trillion question that if you can answer. Obviously, people have been unpacking this in many different ways for decades and centuries. I think we're coming at this in a kind of personal way, in a kind of a way of talking about people's stories, and we're going to talk about how we have found God exists for us. And if you listen to our stories, and you'll pick this up as you go along, this is something we've test-driven through some pretty difficult situations. So if we don't say God exists proitly, we say it battling through to really understand the reality of this.
I think this is a difficult question, and it's one that certainly I struggled with because I'm a psychologist. I worked at the university, I worked in research, and show me the evidence, and I think that one of the things that I had to start and understand is that you can come at this in a number of different ways. One is you can come at it with your head, and the other one is you can come at it with your heart. And they're not necessarily in tune sometimes, which can be slightly uncomfortable. But for a long time, I was a kind of heart conversion rather than a head conversion.
The other thing is that we accept on a regular basis that we don't necessarily have to understand something completely to experience. The TV is an obvious answer of that. My children were interacting and experienced the TV when they're 4 or 5. And probably still don't know really how it works. And so actually you can experience something before you know the theory behind it. It's certainly true for me, I think for you as well.
So I have to say at this moment, if you're looking for a scientific expose and sort of laying out of the evidence of does God exist, then I'm sorry, you might be a bit disappointed here because that's not where we're coming from. We're coming from this very personal view.
But I think it's fair to say you're a professor. You're a doctor, and so my husband's got an intellect that he's used very broadly and widely. So it's not something that, for this to get by you and become real is a real journey for you. And I think it would be great if you could explain that going along. I
will explain it in another. But what I can say at this moment in time is that the evidence for does God exist, we can't prove he does, and we can't prove he doesn't. Not with science. And that's a limitation of science, because there's no evidence that God doesn't exist. So it's subjective. But what I also will say is that some of the greatest scientific minds in the world are Christians. So it's not just me.
So now we have we run 2 websites called Bottled Up, one for drinkers, one for families of drinkers, and we will be inviting some of those people across to kind of really look at how God can help you in a crisis. But we have to say this is really for everybody. I'm a counsellor. I've worked for 35 years with many different sorts of pain. So we are wanting this to be something that you can listen to if you're asking the question. And there are 3 questions we've posed. You'll see at the beginning of this: does God exist? Does God care? And then how can he help me in my situation? So these are the things that we're going to be unpacking. And we really invite you to come along on the journey. Because it's a journey that both of us have travelled.
Yes,
asked
we
those
have
three
travelled.
questions, haven't we? In our,
Yeah.
in
And
our
if you
life?
look at some of our videos, we didn't come at this blithely. We didn't just sort of waking up one morning and say, yes, it's, we were skeptics. We were, we resisted it at times.
Well, I was very anti it one time. I think you were as well.
And you will find out if you watch our videos, you'll see that, we didn't just, accept, but we're here, and we just want to talk about that journey.
Yeah. The other thing we are going to be using, Jesus really got the understanding the unseen was quite hard. And so what he did is he regularly used symbols and pictures and stories to unpack the unseen. And we are going to do that. Now, we're going to be using stories that are more relevant to the 21st century, some of them, not all of them. And I'm absolutely sure from what I know of Jesus, he will be doing exactly the same thing, because his whole essence was wanting to communicate his message to people in a way that they could really understand.
We've both been teachers. And
Yeah.
one of the things that we do is we use images,
Yeah.
to help people understand. We use analogy. And Jesus was brilliant at that. He did, we call it analogy, he calls it parables. I think, to be honest, Jesus would have been brilliant at social media today. He would, he would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
You would have been liking all of his videos. He was a great storyteller of his time. And people were enthralled listening to his stories, which had a message.
And the Pharisees and scribes would have been the trolls.
Yeah, they would have been don't like down, and it would have been an interesting time,
It would.
Yeah, make an interesting movie in itself.
It would actually, yes. Yes. The other thing is we would really strongly suggest you do this. One thing we have discovered over and over is by the time you talk about God, there's a whole file in your mind of what actually isn't God. And I think that those need to be removed before that you can look at this with an open mind. So we've picked out some of these that we've had to plough through, and you'll see them. And please listen to them. If you want to know if there's anything in this, listen to these first, because we know somebody's got there first in your mind, and really we want you to just be able to just dump all that stuff and come at it, because actually it is really good news when you understand what it's all about. So please find out what God is not, as well as if God is there. And we invite you on the journey. We'll be inviting some other people as well, because we want to bring in different kind of stories and so we will be doing that. To start off, it will be a lot of us, but we will be adding to this. We're going to gather a whole load of resources.
Yeah, as broad a spectrum as we possibly can.
Yeah, and we'll probably have a question box. And just come with us on the journey. We would welcome you. We'd love to hear from you. And we invite you to find beauty for whatever your ashes are in this time in your life.
And please interact with us. There's comment box underneath here. So please interact with us. Give us your comments, give us your questions, whatever.
Be kind if you can, and be respectful.
Be kind, that'd be nice.
Because I don't think... I think respect and honour is just an important way of being a decent human being. So
it is.
Try and find your decency and do things with respect and honour, because it's good for us and it's good for you actually to say as a counsellor. Okay, so we're going to go on and record some more videos now, and we hope you'll come and join us. Bye-bye.
Bye.